everyone, and welcome to the Lights Out podcast. I'm Lucy,
I'm Chris.
And I'm Mel.
and welcome back. This week we're going to be doing. Oh. So let's jump right in with a little recap. We saw Oscar Piastri getting a pole position for the race, and it was his second time converting that into a race win on Sunday. So well done, Oscar. And it was a 15.5-second gap to the second place George Russell.
It's the largest winning margin we've had this season so far.
Mm-hmm.
Massive. That's an amazing achievement for him. So, yeah, amazing. And we had Lando in P3. So McLaren 1-3 is still amazing. They've had both drivers on the podium for every race so far this season. So that's an amazing feat for them. Yeah, let's roll right into it. So we obviously had a very, very action-packed weekend, which was a shock to the system after last week, because we all were saying, like, we want a busy race, we want lots of action, but I don't think we wanted that much. That was a little bit too much. I think I held my breath the entire time. Like, I was just sat on the edge of my seat like, what is going on right now?
I literally made a thread after the race, and I think it said, I can finally unclench my butt cheeks after that race.
Yep.
That was intense.
Literally, my hands were like this the entire time. I was like, I can't watch. So
literally like a car crash. It was spectacular. I think especially after Suzuka, I saw a lot of people complaining, but then I also saw someone said that you need the mundane to make the exciting. And I think this is a really good example of this, because I don't think we would have found Bahrain as exciting had we not had something like preceding it. So I think that, you know what, thank you, Suzuka, for making us enjoy and appreciate the racing more this weekend.
We certainly did, didn't we?
Certainly did.
So I'm going to roll right in with my teams to discuss. First off, Williams. Guys, what happened? Like, I cannot come through with the, like, what do we call Williams? Like, you know, with Ferrari, we have the Ferrari-isms. What do we call that for Williams? I don't know.
Bad luck.
Yeah, facts.
Growing pains. William, yeah. Growing pains, bad luck.
Growing pains, yeah. I mean, there was certainly some growing pains at the moment. I think, obviously, the bad luck with Sainz and Yuki making contact, causing damage to Carlos's car. It looked pretty bad, and obviously he had to retire the car on lap 45. He served his 10-second penalty, did a lap, and then retired the car. James said he did a great performance, and that the car was just far too damaged. So obviously Carlos tried his best. He was great. It just wasn't meant to be. There was too much damage, and he just couldn't recover that. So it was unfortunate for him, because I really think he's had a lot of bad luck so far this season, and hopefully it starts to, turn out for him and starts to get better.
I do think it was really nice. I mean, the problems for Williams started really at the beginning of the weekend, didn't they? Alex Albon wasn't happy during qualifying with the time that they sent him out on track, and that really hindered him grid position wise for the race. But I have noticed something that has been coming out of Williams that really relates to something that we spoke about in the first episode, and it's kind of like driver support. And I found that after every single race that I can definitely remember off the top of my head this season, both drivers have got a really encouraging message from their race engineers, and often from James as well. He comes on the radio and he says something kind. Like Lucy said, James came on the radio and said, like, look, it was a good race, but it wasn't your fault. It was just too damaged. I remember was it last race where James said to Carlos, like, he was like, I wasn't fast. And James was like, I know you're faster than this. So I think it's really nice to see Williams, like, giving that open encouragement to their drivers and letting, like, not just them know, but it's nice for the fans, us, to know that Williams are supporting their drivers out loud in public. And I think that really does present that they're doing that in private as well, with how they conduct themselves when they're talking about the team. It's very much a group collective. So it's nice to see that from Williams as well, even if they haven't had the best of weekends.
Agreed. I mean, Williams is in a precarious spot right now. They have Carlos coming over from Ferrari. You've got Alex, and he's been doing fantastic and kind of building the team to even be able to get Carlos to come to Williams. And now they're kind of putting all their money towards what's the future looking like for them. And them having good driver support and drivers who want to stick around for the next 4, 5, 6 years is going to be massively important, especially as we start looking at what 2026 and regulations look like.
But in post-race interviews, even Alex himself said he wasn't happy, but he said he's confident that they'll come back stronger next week. So I think we'll see a different performance from them. I think it was nothing to do necessarily with the car. I think it was just lots of things that went wrong that kind of contributed to a big issue, like the things that we just mentioned. So I think it was just yeah, they didn't have a good weekend, but that's just one to forget about and move on, and they can definitely recover from that. It's just one of those things that happens to everyone. So yeah, hoping for better things for them. Moving on to Haas, we had another double points finish for both drivers. So woo, amazing stuff from them. Yeah, I don't really have anything much to say other than that about them. I think Ollie did a fantastic job getting from P20 to P10. I mean, stellar job from him as a rookie to achieve something like that in very early stages of your first year in F1. Amazing stuff, absolutely amazing.
I did find it very funny that Kimi Antonelli was on the radio complaining about Ollie and moving under braking. I think a lot of people don't know, but I think this kid's a menace on track. He's giving me that, Max Verstappen, early Max Verstappen vibes, maybe a little bit less bad, but definitely Max Verstappen vibes. So I'm very excited to see how he continues to grow in that Haas. Also, Esteban Ocon making that Haas wide as hell, keeping everyone behind him. A big old Haas. He was elbows out and super wide. So, I mean, for Haas, that was a great race.
So Red Bull, we had a double points finish from them, which is the first time it's happened since Vegas 2024. Yuki Tsunoda, you are the man.
Who's the man? You're the man. Strong, healthy, black man. Huh? Dun dun dun, bum up, dun dun. Time to celebrate. Celebrate.
Honestly.
The man you are, Yuki Tsunoda.
King Yuki.
King, absolute king. We love you. Other than that, like, to get a double points finish, Christian Horner said it himself, he was surprised that there was actually a double points finish, given that the issues with the car that I'm just going to talk about now. So Max said it himself, basically everything went wrong with this car. There was too much going wrong, and not just the car too, but he said everything is overheating. I can't even brake now. They had understeering, oversteering, everything, things like that. And there was a problem with the lighting system in the pits. So he ended up having a 6-second pit stop, because even though it was only 2 seconds, there was extra time, because he said he was waiting for the lights because he didn't want to override that, because you have to stick to team orders. Yeah, so he was waiting for the light. That delayed him massively, and then he ended up at the back of the grid and he had to recover those positions. Given everything wrong with the car, only Max Verstappen could get that car back from P20 to where he did. So he did an amazing job, and Yuki staying relatively the same position that he qualified. He qualified P10 and got P9. So he did a great job just maintaining that, given everything that was going on. So well done to them. But yeah, it's not looking good at Red Bull at the moment. I don't know. They need to figure out what their issues are, because it seems every single weekend another thing goes wrong, and it's not going to work. Like, we're not going to see a 4-time world champion be like below the top 5 in the championship. Like, that is just ridiculous. At what point are they going to say something's wrong? Anyway.
I just don't understand Red Bull. There's always a problem every weekend, and it's never just the car. It's inside the car and in the garage. There's always something with Red Bull Racing. Like, I don't know what it is, but like there's that thing that everyone talks about, BetterHelp. Like, really, guys, at this point, like Red Bull, I need the whole garage to go get therapy because what is going on?
Stop it. Get some help.
Please, releases. Like, I could find you a discount code somewhere. There is plenty on the internet. I don't know what it is, but everybody, Red Bull, let's just take it back and do some inner soul searching, and maybe we will find the answers there. Because the call is coming from inside the house with sirens, and I am going deaf, but yet you can't hear it. I'm gonna need you know what we say to the little kids, turn your listening ears on, and I'm gonna need you to listen to the call that's coming from inside the house. So at this point, Red Bull, I'm tired of you taking up a big fat section in my podcast. I'm done. Therapy, please, for everyone involved. Otherwise, everybody is getting a strongly worded email at this point. I'm done with you guys. I'm done. Enough.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. I mean,
Anyway.
yeah, I agree. I agree with Mel. Red Bull, fix your shit. Fix your shit. That's it.
I mean,
just fix your shit.
Toto Wolff has been saying it. They should have listened to him the first time. You've got a problem.
Change your
car.
fucking car. Come on.
Like,
The thing
he
is,
said
though,
it himself. He needs to take his own advice and fix his car.
Even Toto said it. The call was coming from inside the house. He said it then, and it is true now. Please, Christian Horner, like, listen, or somebody. I don't know what we got to do if we have to have some sort of like internal uprising. Like,
We need to get a GoFundMe. Like, do you need a GoFundMe? Let us know.
Yeah, like really.
blink twice if you need to be
help.
filed.
I'm just like you. I think that's true. You're just like me. Yes, I can.
Wow, we share a brain cell.
We were saying this the other day. Me and Chris, we like finish each other's sentences sometimes, and this is one of those times. In this group there is a mutual hatred for all of the fuckery that comes out of Red Bull. Like, you guys, I am jarred beyond belief. I don't use that word very often. You are jarring me. Get it together and do it quickly. Thank you.
Together,
I have
honey.
nothing more to say about Red Bull today.
But you get nothing else from me today. Goodbye. Don't make me call Portia.
So, as you all know, my teams are McLaren, Aston Martin, and VCarb. So I think today we'll actually start with Aston Martin because there's literally nothing to say about them. Apart from Fernando, executing his new use of the DAS system that has now been implemented in 2025, apparently with his steering wheel not pulling back, but just pulling off completely.
She gone.
Literally, I was watching and I was like, you need that attached to the car to steer, but whatever. Whatever you say. Aston Martin really didn't have much of an impact this weekend. I was a bit disappointed after seeing like Stroll's had a really good performance at the beginning of this season. He was kind of like nowhere. I mean, they had some issues. They were just kind of slow this weekend. They both said back to the drawing board and kind of back, and we'll come back better in Saudi. So I guess there's not really much to say on them this weekend. I mean, Nando did better than Lance for once, if that's something. So I'll give him a round of applause. And yes, that might make people angry, but this season, where has Nando been? Lance has carried the team, and all of the points that Aston have are because of Lance Stroll. So
Facts.
you guys can fight me all you want, but Lance has carried Aston Martin, and I will hear nothing about it. Thank you very much. On to my Racing Bulls. Again, like, not really much to say.
No.
I guess another disappointing showing really for Lawson. P16 by the end of it all after disqualifications. It's not a good look. We all know what the VCarb is capable of and what it did in Yuki's hands the beginning of this season. So with such a direct comparison between not just one team but two, Lawson, in the nicest way possible, he's really going to have to step it up because it doesn't look good and we can't be blaming the car every weekend. Even Isaac said that the pace was strong in the car this weekend. Their strategy just didn't work out for them and they had a bad race start. moving on to Hadjar, like once again, I think he's a great driver. He said that he didn't feel like he was moving on the race start, and lost some positions, which really, really sucked. But he had a good race, maintained position for the best part. But from Racing Bulls, I don't really feel like they lit the world on fire this week. I really don't. I don't know if you guys have anything to know. I mean, Lawson has become the new Ocon.
He's got 3 penalty points now.
Three penalty points, close enough. Welcome back, K-Mag. I mean, 10-second penalty for Ocon, RIP 2024. And Bourne this year, it's 10-second penalty for Lawson. They were getting slapped on him left, right, and centre. I think he got a 5-second and a 10-second.
Yeah, he did.
So once again, after not the best showing, to be getting those types of penalties is really daft. And he made a comment saying that the pace was good, but the only way for him to make moves was to lunge, and that was the only way he was going to move up. And I'm sorry, Lawson, but like that's the biggest cop-out I've ever heard. You don't have to race dirty to overtake. Yes. I went back and watched the post-race interviews, and he was like, I didn't do it on purpose. And I was like, if your pace was as strong as you say it was, and as Isaac says it was, then you should have been able to make those moves without having to dive bomb down the inside and hoping it sticks. It doesn't look good. If you can make it stick and make it clean, like hats off to you, but it just looked like clumsy, desperate racing from me. And then to come out afterwards and say the only way to make moves is lunge, that's really literally all I have for Racing Bulls. Considering it was a good race, it wasn't like my teams didn't really do much to entertain me this week, but it's okay because my lovely, lovely, lovely McLaren boys did, I will say, a really great job. Big shame for Lando on the start being outside of his grid box, and Detective
He knew
George
what he was doing too.
Literally, Detective George was no longer to be seen, but Inspector Max was certainly in the building, because I know he broke his finger pressing that radio button to say Lando's outside of his grid box.
It's giving actually.
It's giving. There is a meme in the group chat. I'm gonna have to find the girl's picture of Max, and he's like this. I'm going to have to use that.
Yeah.
If you know exactly which one I mean.
I know exactly which one you mean.
I'm going to have to find the picture. We were all discussing who we think had said it. And we were all like, bet it's Max. And then when we finally got the replay a couple of laps later, we were all like, we knew it was going to be him. So that sucked for Lando, but really great job in making up those positions on the start. Because had he got those penalties and maintained the where he was P6, the race would have been a lot harder for him. So it was good that he was able to kind of make up those positions and then gain that 5 seconds that he lost back. So I will say it was a decent race from Lando in that perspective, but the rest of it, he was really, really clumsy, really, really messy. It was just, for him, like, the result was good, but I don't want to say that he didn't deserve it, but he definitely didn't earn it in the way that he should have. His driving was messy. He was, let's be realistic, he was all over the shop. And I think that took time away from him trying to overtake Leclerc, and therefore, actually, I think that's why he lost out on his P2. He lost too much time in the silly mistakes that he was making all over the track. The lunge he made on Charles and not being able, like, he seemed very hesitant this weekend with a lot of his moves, and I could see that his confidence definitely wasn't as high from the last couple of races that we've had, and he wasn't as confident in the car. Oscar, so proud of the Piastri boy. So proud of the Piastri boy.
You're doing amazing, sweetie.
He is. He did
amazing.
so well. The start was great. The restart from the safety car, he did a great job. Literally, like, he caught George lacking. Like, George had no idea. Like, we were like, oh, is he going to go? Piastri's already, like, 2 seconds down the road. George barely even had a chance to get DRS on Oscar. So he did a really great job. I think it was lovely that McLaren got the opportunity to pay Bahrain back after they invited them over to celebrate their constructors win last year after Abu Dhabi. So it's their first home win in Bahrain. McLaren had only led 8 laps in Bahrain before this. So I think they were really, really hoping for a good result. And I think a 1-3 is really not the best that they could have done this weekend, but a really, really, really good result. So very, very happy, but really proud of Piastri. And I think that he showed how cool, calm, and collected he is under pressure. And I think we will see some very, very, very great things from Oscar Piastri this year.
Absolutely.
Oscar World Driver Championship loading.
Oh,
Loading.
I mean, not this season, but I can see it happening certainly.
I don't know.
I could see it happening
I
this
don't
season.
know.
I could
I
see
can
it
see it
happening.
happening
It's
this
too soon to say. I wouldn't say a no, like it could happen, but I think it's going to be between 4 or 5 drivers. So it could literally be any of them at this stage. It's too close for us to say that, but I wouldn't wipe it out as a possibility. It's definitely.
I would say 65. I would say 65 to Oscar Piastri at the moment, beating Lando for the championship.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think the odds of Oscar winning are higher than the odds of Lando winning currently. With the way that he's been driving, his consistency, even if he's not winning every race, Oscar seems to be the more consistent and solid driver in that McLaren. He has been consistently faster, maybe not in qualifying, but in race pace, Oscar has been consistently faster, and he makes less mistakes. And mistakes cost time, and time cost places. Places cost money because points mean prizes, in the words of Ollie Berman. So, yeah, I could see it, Chris. I don't doubt it. I could see it this year.
I mean, I said to you guys in my voice note the other day, I said I think I see Oscar winning a championship before Lando does, based on how he just does not make mistakes, and that is what costs you points. But yeah.
It's definitely early still early, but I think the new upgrades for Ferrari need to get fully installed properly and tested out. And we have to see what Red Bull does before we can really make that decision, because we can't count out Max Verstappen yet.
We can't count him out yet. Red Bull. We need to stop calling it Red Bull and just calling it Max at this point. It's Max Bull Racing.
Just Max. You can't count Max out. But I do think that this year is going to be batshit insane once again. It's up for me next, and I am going to be covering Mercedes, Alpine, and Sauber. So we're just going to give a quick rundown to Sauber. Nothing really too crazy. Unfortunately, Nico Hülkenberg did get disqualified after the race. They checked his skid block, and it was under the 9mm allowance. So unfortunately, he was disqualified at the end of the race. Bortoleto wasn't really around, didn't really have much of a race, had a little bit of some good overtakes and battles in the back of the grid, but nothing at this point. Again, as I said before, Sauber is really looking at 26 and beyond, so I don't expect much from them. Maybe a couple Hail Marys from Nico Hülkenberg, but I'm not expecting much. Moving on over to my babies, Alpine. Pierre Gasly with a fantastic weekend out of him. Let's give a round of applause for Pierre Gasly, please.
Yeah, Gasly, you legend.
You legend. Purple Pierre, I honestly screamed. I don't know about y'all, but I screamed watching, what was it, practice or qualifying or whatever it was, and him going purple sectors across the board. Quite literally screamed, literally made my day. All I could think was Purple Pierre all weekend long. But he had a great race. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to keep Max behind him at the very, very end, but his tires were shot. I think he definitely did a great job of managing his tires and being a tire whisperer. And it is I believe, the first points Alpine has brought home this season.
It is.
So finally, we are on the board. Finally, Alpine, which is great. And you know what? Jack had a really good showing too in the P12, so just outside of points. But considering the way that the racing went, how much battles in the midfield there was, P12 is not bad, and it's a great step forward than what he had in the last couple races. So definitely looking forward to see how he's doing moving forward. I'm not even going to talk about the reserves. We all know they're there. We'll see them eventually. And finally, on to Mercedes. George Russell, I also, unfortunately, have to give you a round of applause, too.
He did a great job.
He did do a fantastic job.
Can't fault him. I mean, he got by Oscar, but I mean, the fact that his DRS broke, his brakes were going long, he basically opened up the radio to ask for DRS, and then the DRS wing just opened on him. Like, considering that his dashboard went off, so he had no idea what was going on. He was basically driving a car like it was early 2000 F1. Considering all of that, I think P2 is a fantastic result for George Russell. And while he did fight for that win, I truly believe Lucky Bunny George has struck again. I don't know what Buddha or what magical talisman he's keeping in his driver's room, but share with the rest of the class, George.
Do you think Alex took him to that Thai temple and like
100%.
gave him that good luck?
He did say he would get him a monk, didn't he? Yeah. He was like, I know a great monk. What was it, like 22 laps on soft? Something crazy?
24.
24 laps.
24 laps on soft. I mean, when I was watching, I mean, most of the time I was saying, you know, why and what the fuck for Ferrari. But when they put him on softs at the end, I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? So George Russell, fantastic by you. Kimi Antonelli also had a pretty good showing. I believe he also finished right outside of points as well. So Kimi ended up finishing P11. Another good showing from him. He got caught up in a lot of the battles that were behind Esteban Ocon for a while. Couldn't really get past anybody, kind of got jockeyed around. They actually brought him in for an additional pit stop too. So I think they did a 3 pit stopper for Antonelli, which wasn't really the right choice. But, you know, he's young. He's got Bono. He had a good race. You know, they'll continue to kind of push him, but he's quick.
He's quick. Putting people up in the midfield.
He was
saying, quick. There's something about Kimi Antonelli's racecraft that I really, really enjoy. Like, when he pulled that move on Max, I was like, oh, Max, I know you are so hot right now. I would be pissed if a kid had pulled a Max Verstappen on me. Like, he did that switchback, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, that is so cold. Max was like, oh yeah, he's going to the inside. And Kimi said, thank you very much. I will have that place. And the lift off, the exit was perfect.
Honestly, I think he was probably a little tickled pink too, though, because let's be real. All these rookies have watched Max's onboards ad nauseum for years. That was a classic Max Verstappen move. Like, you know that when it happened and Max got out maneuvered, he was pissed, but he was also like, damn it, like, why am I so like, yeah, he's like, I'm racing my own damn ghost. It's like in those racing games, you race the ghost. It's like, damn, I'm racing my own damn ghost.
Real.
Like, he definitely was probably annoyed and pissed, but he was also probably really actually having a great time, because how often does Max Verstappen actually get overtaken?
He loves like, a battle,
he loved
though.
It.
Mm-hmm. He loves a battle.
Loved it.
So I think again, Kimi had a great race. He's going to be a shining star. You know, I think if this Mercedes continues to improve the way it seems to be improving this year, I do think that he's up there for, you know, a title fight in his first year, which is insane. So we will definitely keep an eye out on Mercedes, and congratulations again to George for holding it out.
They need to not mess their strategy up though, because they could maintain a good position, but that strategy was an insight to, if that continues or gets worse, they're gonna waste it. Like, they need to not do that again if they wanna stay up there. So yeah.
And to finish off and round out all of our teams, I think it's time we move on to our favourite love child and depression pit, Ferrari. I don't think they necessarily had a bad race, personally. Do I think they could have made some better calls? Yes. I know that there is a little bit of a divide in our group on this. I think that their strategy was wrong. I think that they made it very clear that they didn't want to go on the hards. I think that that's what Charles wanted. And I think Charles wanted to go on the hard, and I think his reasoning for that would have made sense. We saw that the medium was probably, in my opinion, the more competitive tyre of the race. The soft was quick, but including tyre deg and how long that we were having to race these tyres, I think the medium was the better tyre to be on. So I just don't understand why they kind of did it the way they did. I know that they had a set of used softs that they could have used at the end of the race, so I just don't really understand why they picked such an uncompetitive tyre to finish the race on. The hard was not very good for most. I think apart from two people that seemed to think it was okay. So I think that had Ferrari maybe arranged that better, maybe even gone for the one stop, I think it would have been possible on the hards. I don't think that anybody was necessarily struggling that hard. I think if they'd have gone longer on their first stint, I think they could have pulled off a one stop. But I think that Ferrari have trauma from being underweight. And I genuinely don't think that with the floor upgrades that they've brought this weekend, they wanted to try anything risky. I think they probably more just wanted to see how everything was holding up and balance-wise of the car. So I think they had a great race. I do think that they maybe kind of screwed Charles over a little bit. I think he could have held on to that third place had they arranged things, I think, in a better way. But I wouldn't necessarily say a bad race from Ferrari. It was nice to see Lewis a lot higher up in the top 10, so that made me smile. You know, I will never complain seeing Lewis higher up in the top 10, especially from where he started. So yeah, from my perspective, I think a good race, but I wish Ferrari would listen to their drivers more, because at the end of the day, they're doing the driving and you are not. Your strategy, you might be able to see, like, Avatar might be bending air on the screen in front of you, but I do think that at some point Ferrari need to start listening to their drivers, because I think Charles probably would have finished higher up if they had gone with his strategy plan.
Yeah, and he definitely he was begging them for Plan Delta, which we can only assume is a one-stop strategy. If they'd have gone with that, I think they would have finished on the podium, and they definitely should have. I think, like you said, they're a bit scared and they didn't want to get disqualified again for being underweight. So they were like, let's just see how these new upgrades are performing. Let's see what we can get out of the car on a standard performance. And then we know exactly how we're going to perform in the next race with a proper strategy. But nobody else had medium tyres left. No one had fresh mediums. It was just McLaren.
Ferrari, I think the biggest issue for Ferrari, we've said it multiple times, is just that they got to get out of their own way. You know, like, they have the drivers, right? Like, they have the drivers. They brought upgrades that seem to have fixed some of the bigger issues, right? Which I predicted it was the fucking floors. Like,
well done.
Thank you. I felt so cool. I was like, I was like, I'm Adrian Newey. But me and my little notebook. But like, I do think Ferrari's biggest issue this season, and the tale of Ferrari this year, is going to be, you gotta get out your own way. You know, it's the I understand that we want to be smarter than our competitors and we want to try something new, but we're obviously not making the right decisions or trying something new in different avenues at work. Like, our drivers are asking for Plan Delta. Then give him Plan freaking Delta.
Not even asking, he was begging.
Begging, right, begging.
Please consider it. They didn't even say anything. They just straight out ignored him.
And he said something afterwards as well, didn't he? Even when he came out the pits, he was still complaining. At that point, It's like, when do you listen?
Exactly. I mean, I think what it really comes down to is the drivers are going to have a come to Jesus with Ferrari and be like, you guys need to listen to us. We're losing the championship by not listening.
Exactly.
You know, yes, Charles was able to keep a P4, but he probably could have finished podium, if not second, if we would have been on a better tire that this car liked. Like, at some point, there needs to be a conversation about, hey, like, yes, we're doing okay, but I could be doing better. And now you're costing me points in my championship. Like,
agreed.
Ferrari, no offense, I don't really give a flying fuck if you guys get another championship. You know what I care about? If Charles Leclerc or Lewis Hamilton get a championship and they just so happen to drive for you. I don't care. I truly don't care about y'all. Okay, I care about them. And you guys are now starting to interfere with that. And that's going to be an issue for a lot of people coming up real soon. So get it together, Ferrari. Get it together. Plan Delta. If he asks for it, I want to get a sign for, like, any race and just go, listen to Charles. Just listen to Charles. just listen. Open your ears, listening ears. Like, whatever you got to do, listen to Charles. He's who you need to listen to, because the data is not dating. The math is not mathing. You've heard
I'm
of
gonna
girl
get
math?
annoying.
I'm gonna get a top that says "Stop censoring the drivers" because at this point, this is what it is. It's
For real,
censorship.
for real, for real. Please cuss them out. Please cuss them out. You know, honestly, I would pay for a OnlyFans-esque ass website if I could watch drivers cussing their team principals out.
Could you imagine?
I would pay good money to see. Was it Raymond, Max Verstappen's manager, cussing out whoever he cussed out in the
It was Helmut
the
Marko.
Red Bull Garage?
It was Helmut Marko. I love this song.
I love it here.
Turn it up.
But yes, Ferrari, if you don't want to be hated in the same way that Helmut Marko and Red Bull Racing is starting to be hated, I would suggest you start figuring out your strategies. And that's all we're going to say about that.
I mean, to be fair, Charles was lucky to finish where he did, given that he was having brake issues as well. He had inconsistent braking, and I'm like, you fix one thing and another thing breaks. Like, is it a compromise? Like, you can only have one working component? Because that's how it feels at the moment.
I'm convinced
Anyway.
that Lando probably went around cutting everyone's brake pedals after his was going long. He was like, well, if I had to suffer, everybody's brake pedals going long. I know he was there with a lighter underneath everyone's cars. Park firmly. Well, I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it.
You know that meme with that girl where she's got the lighter and she's like...
Also, I appreciate Lucy bringing actual facts to my frustrated sport rant. Thank you, girl. Yeah,
You're welcome.
We're lucky. I'm not going to lie. Ferrari is very lucky that we're anywhere near a podium because, as Charles has said, these goddamn McLarens are on their fucking planet. For the moment, he did say for the moment, they are on their planet at the moment. I feel like this is very similar to...
They just have to fix their shit.
They do. But let's remember, Ferrari takes
time.
6 or 7 races. They take time.
They need to defrost.
And Lewis did say as well, he feels like he now knows how the car drives and he understands what it wants to do. So he's confident. He's confident the next race they'll get something better out of it.
Can I insert the cutest? I don't know if you guys caught this under the safety car. I can't. Under the safety car, Lewis got a message through asking him to press a button for under the safety car. It's so cute. Because Lewis goes, he goes, what's that?
Stop it. My Sheila.
I was like, Lewis, you are so dear to me. But it also reminded me that everybody that's like someone said it in an interview, for all of your fans that are expecting something great from you, Lewis was like, don't. And little things which is iconic to say the least.
Don't.
Literally, he was like, don't. It was brilliant, but it definitely highlights the fact that there's still things that he is learning, and this was a great result for him, for someone that is still learning after such a big change and a big jump in his life. So once again, I know the girls said it last episode, about people needing to leave Lewis Hamilton alone. I'm back to repeat the message. I would like everyone to keep it on an even keel. I think Chris had a great benchmark. It was Monza, the Temple of Speed. So, if we have seen our Shayla, he still doesn't know all of his buttons and what they mean and where they are. Okay?
I'm gonna cry. Shayla.
Bye, Shayla. I want you to all leave Lewis Hamilton alone, okay?
We need to leave Brittany alone meme.
Leave Brittany alone!
Leave Brittany alone!
Literally, I actually need Brittany to come out and tell everyone to leave Lewis Hamilton alone. Nico, where are you when we need you? Please, Brittany, we need you. I need you to glaze on our man some and tell everyone you need to come out and defend your boyfriend. Okay, Nico? Come out here and defend your boyfriend publicly. So yeah, that's all I've got to say. Leave Lewis alone. He did a great job this weekend. I don't want to hear anything about it.
I mean, to be fair, this is the first race in the desert. Yes, we do testing there, blah, 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 blah. But this is now the first race. And the first race in the desert, and honestly, the last race that they would need to figure out new conditions for, right? Japan and China are very similar to what Miami's going to be. Miami is very similar to how Singapore will be in terms of humidity. You know, COTA and the American races can be anything like Japan all the way over to Shanghai. So we've kind of gotten all of the weather at this point. I think they needed to figure out how things work and how the car reacts to like hot and cold temperatures. So I think now a lot of drivers are going to click in. Like I do think a lot of drivers we've been looking forward of snapping in, like the rookies, like Pierre Gasly, like Esteban Ocon. You know, some of these drivers that take a little bit longer to warm up. I think they're going to all click in the next couple of races, and Monza is going to be something beautiful. Definitely. I'm so excited for Monza.
I mean,
can y'all tell I'm excited for Monza?
Should we go? I mean, we're going, aren't we?
I mean, we have the time booked off, so like...
We have the time booked off. I mean, Lewis is all to this race. Sorry,
I love how
I'm learning Italian too, so I'm like, I'm prepared. I'm ready to go.
Great, as a translator. I love how I told myself in my 30s I was going to save money, and then I met these two, and it's like, hey, you want to go to a race every weekend?
We're so welcome. No, really, because before we got on the pod, guys, I looked at our calendar that we check for any important dates and events, and I was like, oh, I'm flying over Miami race weekend. And I said that, and within 30 seconds, everybody's looking at tickets for Sunday.
I mean, I've been looking, like, I purposely linked up my schedule so I was in Miami for the race. That's how unhinged I am.
I'm
exposing myself.
So, you know what, guys? You never know. You might catch us in Miami next episode. Who knows?
I mean, I thought I wasn't going to be able to go because I'm going to be in Texas the weekend before. And I was like, oh, no, I can't go. It's the same weekend. Only it's not. Oh, motherfuckers. It's not.
It's giving. Welcome to Miami.
I'm going.
And I've never been to Miami.
Oh.
All I'm saying is, I think we're going to be there, so you might get a Miami episode. Just saying.
Just saying. Like and subscribe to find out.
So one thing we definitely noticed this weekend was that there's massive inconsistencies with the FIA fines and penalties, especially with penalties and in terms of track limits. It didn't match up. We had 5 seconds here, nothing for this one, 10 seconds for this one, and none of it made any sense. It was very, frantic.
I don't know what the FIA was doing this weekend. It all seemed like it started out on a good front as well, with them being quite on it with Lando's penalty. Lando was out of the box, 5 seconds, done. I was like, do you know what? Good. Because I think last year we kept finding that we were getting lots of after race conclusions to penalties, which I really didn't like. So I thought, cool, the FIA is awake this weekend. And then
it was some bits, it was okay, I didn't see it.
Literally, it's what are we doing here? Kimi got track limits 6 times. The limit is 3. It's I'm not understanding. Jack Doohan got track limits 4 times. If there is a reason for that we haven't seen, I will either insert it or put it somewhere. But I wasn't very impressed with the FIA. You are being inconsistent with your penalties. I think a lot of people expected after the race for people like Kimi or maybe even George to get a penalty and kind of push them down, but we got nothing of the sort. Is anybody
George
awake?
Definitely didn't deserve to get a penalty. He didn't do anything wrong because he pressed his radio and got DRS, and he immediately slowed down because he kind of knew if he sent it into a corner, he was going to get a penalty. So he didn't need one.
Charles Leclerc had the same issue. If you're going to investigate George and say that there's no further action, that's absolutely fine. But I also expect you to investigate Charles and say no further action, because that is once again inconsistent. Charles has opened his DRS where he shouldn't have done. Yes, it was a malfunction and it was a mistake, but why are we pulling George in for that, but we're not pulling in Charles? The inconsistencies are huge and it makes no sense.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big issue that we're starting to see, and a lot of drivers starting to call it out. Carlos, it has notably been said to say, hey, I would like to know where these money is going. Where are the fines going? I think it's a little concerning that We had MBS in the building this week, and it's very interesting that he was in the building and the decisions were kind of all over the place. It's a little concerning as well. This inconsistencies cannot continue to happen, especially during the race. Like, we didn't even know if Carlos had served his 10-second penalty before until like literally hours later, because that wasn't
pretty
shown
sure
to
they
us.
issued him a penalty, and
Yes,
yeah, and we were like, no, like he served it. He
right.
did. He
He
did
did
his 10
indeed.
seconds. He did a lap, and then he retired the car.
Right.
It's perfectly okay to do that.
Yeah, and I'm not saying he didn't. I'm saying we didn't, as the broadcast, we didn't see that. They were all worried about everything else going on up front, so we didn't see the 10-second broadcast. But also, again, how is Carlos being fined for something that I saw a medical issue last weekend, and then he almost gets a 3 grades grid drop for what? Getting his side pod taken out? How is it his fault? Right? But there was no investigation on Yuki Tsunoda. Not saying that Yuki deserved to have an investigation, right? I'm not saying that. That's racing. Sometimes you touch and shit gets fucked up, right? But it's the inconsistencies. It's the wild track limits. It's the timing sheet on the broadcast not working. Like, it's the continued inconsistencies that's ruining the sport. You know, I had seen that the F1 had tried to get ESPN to buy the rights to Formula One for like $180 million. And ESPN said basically no thank you. And so did Netflix. And this is the reason why. This is one of the reasons why. Viewers and TV networks can't trust you guys, the league, to officiate in a way that allows for betting to happen. That's what this comes down to. The FIA is ruining their own product because they refuse to create standardized metrics that then people can bet upon. And ESPN, always, especially American-based sports media, is not going to pick them up if they cannot bet on it.
Oh yeah, it's betting is huge. Sports betting is massive.
Huge.
Huge.
Massive. And the thing is, and this is a completely different conversation we can cover later, but that's a reason why Formula One will never grow here.
Too unpredictable.
It's too unpredictable, and you can't guarantee the rules. Okay, I can't predict that the Super Bowl is who's winning the Super Bowl this year, but I can predict that if there's an offside call, it's going to be called. If there's a touchdown, it's going to be reviewed. In racing, we don't have that guarantee that if you get 3 black and white flags for track limits, you're getting a penalty, right? Because as we've seen this weekend, one driver had 6, another had 5.
I mean, we saw it last year, didn't we? You don't even know if the winner's going to stay the winner. It happened to George Russell last year. Like, if you can't guarantee that at the end of the day, the results are what the results are, then they don't make money from things like betting, because how do you cash out and then you have to say, oh, actually, George Russell, he lost that, so I'm going to need you to give me that money back. It doesn't work like that. So I think
it ruins racing.
It does.
It ruins racing.
You get a trophy, you get a podium, you get your moment, but if you then get promoted to that podium position, you get nothing.
To celebrate. You didn't get
any celebrations, and it's just ripped from you, and it doesn't feel like a victory, so it's completely unfair.
So yeah, it'll be, I mean, the FIA, once again.
You're done.
I mean, much like how we're sick and tired. How we're sick and tired of talking about Red Bull and Ferrari strategy, we're also sick and tired of talking about the FIA. One weekend where we have just clean racing from everyone, not even just the drivers. I would love for a quiet weekend where all the drama is in the racetrack and the stupid ass media content they give us. That's all I want. One weekend.
Oh, that's so cute. And I want world peace.
I know. Neither's going to happen ever.
So before we move on to the next race, let's just update the championship points. So Lando is still leading the championship by 3 points. Oscar Piastri is closing in on him. So he's overtaken Max Verstappen and it's P2 in the leaderboard. Max is in 3rd place, only by 5 points. And then closely behind, we have George Russell by 6 points. So it's very tight in the top 4. 5th place, we're not going to worry about because there's a 31 point gap. It's too much. But the top 4 are very, very close within each other. So it's a tight run at the moment, but it's still way too soon to be saying what we think is going to happen. For the constructors, it's not even close. Like, it's way, 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 way out. We've got McLaren 151 points, Mercedes 90 points, and Red Bull 71.
Ooh.
So it's a lot. You've got 61 points between the top 2, and then what is that, 19 points between Mercedes and Red Bull. So it's not.
So are you trying to tell me that the 69 points, so of the 71 points that Red Bull have right now, 69 of them. So basically we have McLaren, Mercedes and Max Verstappen, the top 3 battling it out for the constructors. I don't want to hear anything about Max Verstappen washed, Max Verstappen not goated ever, because come on, top three on your own is absolute insanity. You guys really need to put 69. Some respect. At 69, come on, guys. Man's got a baby on the way too. Put some respect on Max Verstappen's name, please.
Max is driving like he's trying to get that child's tuition for 20 years from now.
I mean, points mean prices.
Let's move on to the next race. We have Jeddah this weekend. The racing is returning to Saudi Arabia. It's a fast, sweeping circuit, and it's known to really challenge the drivers. It's another street circuit, which is really great. It's some fantastic views. And it's the second fastest track on the calendar, only to Monza, which is the Temple of Speed. As we all know, we can expect to see speeds of around 250 km an hour. So this is fast. We're going to see, I think, a lot of chaos.
Nikita Mazepin, welcome back. Let's go.
Yes.
But it's also the track with the most corners at 27. So
wow.
The whole track is just corner. It's just
tires. The poor tires.
It's going to be a real game of who's a good tire whisperer. Lewis holds the lap record from 2021. So it'll be interesting to see. We've had a lot of records broken. So let's see if there's another one this weekend. He may even break his own record. We'll be interested to see. But it's a very Red Bull dominated track. So there's not too much to go off of because it's only been there since 2021. So we've only got a couple of real seasons to go off of. But what's everyone's predictions for this weekend? What do we think's going to happen? Who do we think's going to be on the podium?
Do you want to go first, Chris?
Sure. Oh God, what can I shock all people with this weekend? I think it's going to be Oscar. I think it's going to be Oscar on P1. I think it's going to be Max P2. And you know what?
Prepare
I'm going to give it to George Russell. I think it's going to be a George Russell P3.
Wow.
It hurts my soul.
Wow.
It hurts my soul, but I know my boys are probably not going to have the pace this weekend. They're still kind of behind that Red Bull, that McLaren pace. So I don't trust any strategy in Saudi Arabia from Ferrari. So I've learned my lesson. So I think it's going to be an Oscar P1, a Max P2, and a George Russell P3, and a depressed Christina Monday morning.
So I feel like Saudi will be a track that caters to the McLarens. The McLarens do well in low speed corners. So I think that we will see both McLarens on the podium, but I think Lando will get the edge on Oscar this weekend, and I think it will be Oscar versus Max for P2. I think this is a track that Red Bull does well on, and I think that Max really enjoys as well. So I could see him actually probably doing some good things with the Red Bull, but I don't think it will be the Red Bull's pace, like on merit, that will get him that P2. I think it will be the fact that he's Max Verstappen. And of course, P3, I think it will be Oscar Piastri. I think that he will do really well this weekend. Once again, this track is catered to the McLarens, but I think in a track that I think maybe is a little bit more mentally challenging to drive with the amount of corners there are, I think that maybe Lando's experience might get him the upper hand on this track this week. So yes, so Lando P1, Max P2, and Oscar P3.
I like that. Do you know what? I think that is point blank exactly what I would say. I think my predictions for this weekend, I was going to say I think Lando will come out strong on this. I think he'll get P1 because his experience, and given that this is a difficult track, it's fast paced, you've got 27 corners, there's a lot going on. I think it's not going to be so far away this time. I think we're going to have a lot of battles between the top few. There isn't going to be a 15-second time gap this time. I think they're all going to be very close. I think Lando, Max, Oscar, just like you said, or Charles could be up there. If they get it right, I believe he can make it up there. Or even Lewis. I think there was only one. I was looking at the history of this track, and it's all Red Bull dominant, but there were points where the Ferraris did well. They didn't get podium, but there's just not enough history to go off of to be able to say yet what they're going to do, but based on the kind of the complexity of the track and people's skills, I think that's my predictions as well. I agree with you, Mel. I would say Lando P1, Max P2, Oscar P3.
Wow. I'm sure we will soon see in a couple of days. And this is the last of our races for the triple header this week, because we are off for a week next week. Red Bull, Ferrari, I think you need it. I think you need some time to go back to the factory, speak to everyone, and hopefully they will come back a lot stronger for Miami. But we're going to have a week out of racing. I am devastated, crying, screaming, throwing up, sliding down the wall.
I don't know what we're going to do with ourselves.
I'll be at a rave, so I'll be at a music festival. That's what I'm doing in between breaks. I'm going to be at a music festival, acting like a hoe. So if you're coming to LBW in Texas, come hang out. I'll be front row somewhere. Look for the sparkles.
I'm trying to get like you, my boy. So that's all from us this week, but you will see us very soon after we get into our breakdown on all things Saudi Arabia. So don't forget, if you're on YouTube, to like, comment and subscribe. Click the little bell so you are always notified of when we post, and make sure to follow us over on Spotify so you have us for your morning commute or evening commute every day. So I've been Mel.
I've been Lucy.
And I'm Chris.
And we will see you next week. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.